We're back with another week of your picks. I've got the cards you want to hear about.
And I'm here to tell you which cards to buy, sell, or hold.
This is the forecast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the forecast. I'm Amber Wilson. You guys know the drill by now. Now, you guys also know that for the last few weeks here on the forecast, we've been doing the cards that you guys want to hear about. I've been talking about the players all across sports who you guys want to know about. You want to hear about their card value. You want to hear about the latest on these players. So today I'm back again with more of your suggestions. Remember, you can always suggest who you want to hear about on next week's episode right below in the comments right here on YouTube. We love all of the suggestions. It makes our job easier, and then we get to bring you the content that you actually want. So today I have 5 cards for you, all suggestions straight from you guys, and we will cover the gamut in sports. Right before we get into it though, of course, I want to remind you that this episode of Sports Card Investor is brought to you by our friends at eBay, your number one spot for cards and collectibles, with the largest inventory of sports cards from basketball to soccer, and with buyers from all over the globe. eBay is the leading place to buy, sell, and invest your cards. All right, guys, let's get right to it. And 12G Tribe wants to hear about Julio Jones. And, well, that's pretty damn topical right now because Julio Jones, apparently the Atlanta Falcons wideout, wants out of Atlanta. We already knew that in terms of somewhat the rumor mill, but now we really know that because Shannon Sharpe appears to have done him dirty on FS1 on Undisputed, where Shannon Sharpe allegedly called Julio Jones on speakerphone on a cell phone that Julio Jones didn't know he was live on the air, which clearly is a big no-no, not just legally, but just in terms of broadcasting and journalism generally. So Shannon Sharpe calls Julio Jones. He has him on speaker. Julio Jones doesn't know he has him on speaker. Julio Jones says that he's gone. He's out of Atlanta. There's reports out there that he wants to be traded to the New England Patriots or the Tennessee Titans, that those are his preferred landing destinations. It's not going to be up to Julio where he goes, of course, because he would be traded in this scenario, but I guess he wants out, which means Julio Jones this week has been making headlines, and he's been making headlines lately, the last couple months, because there was this idea that he wanted out and that he maybe would be available and maybe he wouldn't be part of their future plans in Atlanta. So let's take a look with all of that surrounding Julio Jones, what's been happening to his card value. So let's take a look at Julio Jones's 2011 Topps base PSA 10. Now, his 2011 Topps PSA 9 has a great price ratio versus the 10 over the last 60 days if you're looking for value. I'm going to show you that in just a second, but looking here at his PSA 10, over the last 2 months, that card is up 26% in value. So let's take a look at his 2011 Topps base PSA 9. Now that card over the same period of time, over 60 days, is down 28% in value. So that's what I mean there. If you're looking for value, maybe you're looking for that PSA 9. But overall, Jeff, what do we do here with Julio Jones? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
Being in Atlanta, this one is hard for me because Julio Jones, I've been a big fan of this guy for many years. I've watched many games with him representing our hometown Falcons. But now this guy wants out of Atlanta. It is obnoxious that he is walking around in a Dallas Cowboys sweatshirt. I say good riddance, and I also say sell Julio Jones cards. Now, yes, I've got a little personal vendetta against Julio at this moment for turning his back on my Falcons, but the truth of the matter is this would be a good time to sell anyway when his signing with a new team is announced, because that will probably give his card prices a boost. Yet, he's 32 years old. He's coming off of a season where he missed several games due to injury and just had 3 touchdowns. The season prior, he only had 6 touchdowns. His production hasn't been the same as it was earlier in his career. I worry about how good he's going to be in the seasons ahead. I take advantage of any type of boost his cards see in the next few months. and sell Julio Jones.
Noel Reyes wants to hear about Lamar Jackson, so let's do it. The former NFL MVP, of course, he took home that trophy in 2019. That was just his second season in the league. Now, he had a down year in 2020, and a lot of people are down on Lamar Jackson. I think that's a bit ridiculous. Like a down year? Well, yeah, because in his second year, his sophomore year in the NFL, he was winning MVP trophies. So, all right, he came back down to earth slightly. He still had a good season. He still had over 2,700 passing yards, 28 touchdowns. He did have 9 interceptions in 2020, but he rushed for another 1,000 yards and another 7 touchdowns in that year as well. So that was Lamar Jackson's down year. Now the Ravens, they lost to Buffalo 17-3 in the divisional round of the playoffs. That adds to the whole Lamar Jackson problem. Then, of course, even though he's only been in the league for a few years and he's really, really young still, people start talking about, oh, can he get it done? He can't win the big one. He can't get it done in the playoffs. Nobody in sports can win the big one until they win the big one. Remember when we used to do this about LeBron? I mean, we do this about all the greats, right? They can never win the big one, and then they win the big one, and then we move on to somebody else, and it's kind of what we're doing here to Lamar Jackson currently. But let's take a look at what's happened here in terms of his card value. Now, Lamar's cards, the 2018 Optic Base PSA 10. That card over the last 30 days is down 28%. Let's take a look at his 2018 Donruss Base PSA 10. Over the last 30 days, that one's down 33%. So Lamar Jackson's cards have been losing value. Lamar, though, I think he's an unbelievable player, a young player. He's already had an unbelievable career in the NFL. The bar was set so high, so early on, that any dip in production is going to seem extreme and people are going to overreact. That's my analysis. But Jeff, I want to hear your analysis in terms of his cards. Buy, sell, or hold.
This is a crazy stat about Lamar Jackson's cards. Since August 9th of last year, right before last year's NFL season started, his 2018 base Prism rookie card is down 74.8%. It's lost 3/4 of its value since the start of last year's NFL season. And his play last year, it wasn't MVP level, but it wasn't bad. He had 26 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, threw for close to 3,000 yards, had another 1,000 yards rushing. His card should not be down by 3/4. The market has overcorrected on Lamar Jackson. In my opinion, he is a big time buy right now with his prices in such an incredible dip.
Now, Noel Reyes also gave us Devin Booker, and I wanted to talk some NBA because it is playoffs time. And yes, I'm talking playoffs. Yes, let's talk about the NBA playoffs. Now, the Suns, they handled the Lakers in game 1 of that matchup, and people all of a sudden started turning their attention to the Suns team as a legitimate contender. They are a fun, young team. Obviously, the vet leadership of Chris Paul has really, really helped that team. Now, game 2, they end up splitting the series 1-1 with the Lakers. Chris Paul didn't play in the fourth quarter. Dude's always injured in the playoffs, and that was the story of game 2 as well. They're going to have a hard time getting it done if Chris Paul isn't healthy. But you saw how incredible Devin Booker can be in leading this team. That is a young, exciting core that they have there in Phoenix. And Devin Booker is one of the NBA's most gifted young scorers. He averaged 26 points per game on 48% shooting overall this season. So let's take a look at Devin Booker's 2015 Prism Base PSA 10. Now, over the last month, and I was surprised by this, because again, talking about a young, exciting Suns team, a team squarely in the playoffs, they're seated much higher than the Lakers, even though the Lakers have been the favorite in this series because it's the Lakers, because it's LeBron. But the Suns are the most disrespected, maybe 2 seed of all time. They're the 2 seed. They're a good team. Devin Booker's the star on that team, the biggest star on that team anyways. And over the last 30 days, his card is down 10% in value. That's not much, 10% give or take. Okay, that's hardly anything at all. But I thought that we were going to see a bump here leading into these NBA playoffs, and particularly after game 1. So Jeff, with Devin Booker, do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
I really like Devin Booker, but what his cards are going to do in the weeks and months ahead comes down to how this series against the Lakers finishes out. If you think the Suns can pull it off and advance to the next round and eliminate the heavily favored LeBron and Anthony Davis from the playoffs, then go out and buy some Devin Booker cards today, because those cards will most likely go up. But if you think LA is going to continue to show their strength like they did in this last game and the Suns are going to exit this round, then I would actually probably sell any Devin Booker cards I have at the moment, because you'll probably be able to rebuy them back in a couple of months for less money than what you could sell them for today. So really, you could go either way. In my opinion, I think the Lakers are advancing. I think the Suns have been a great story, but I probably would sell Booker only because you can buy him back. I really do like Booker for the long term, though.
Retristics wants us to talk some baseball. He wants us to talk about Ichiro, so let's do it. Now, of course, one of Major League Baseball's all-time greatest hitters and outfielders. Dude is a legend. He's eligible for the Hall in 2025. He finished his career with 3,089 hits, 509 stolen bases. His 2001 Topps paper rookie, a tough grade. There was only 128 tens out of about 2,800 total that have been graded. It features a green border that makes it harder to grade as well. Let's take a look at his 2001 Topps base PSA 9, okay? Ichiro's card over the last 30 days, up 6% in value, so basically stagnant. If we take a look at his 2001 Topps base PSA 8, that card's down about 14% over the same time period, over the last 30 days. You'll see on this chart. I mean, that's not much, right? Ichiro's cards, you're talking about a legend. His career is Hall worthy. Obviously, his story is already solidified as one of the best in the game. So seeing a tiny dip in his cards over a month's time, no big deal. Jeff, overall, the dude's still a legend. So what do we do here with Ichiro's cards? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
Ichiro is one of the GOATs in Major League Baseball. He does not get enough respect for how incredible of a hitter he was, doing it here, both in the US as well as internationally. I think over the next 5 years, as we approach his Hall of Fame induction in 2025, I think people will start to grow a greater respect for his accomplishments. And when it is finally announced that he makes the Hall of Fame on that first ballot, which he inevitably will, I think Ichiro's cards will go up even more. I think this guy is a great buy. He is a great long-term hold. If you are looking for long-term investment in the sports card market, Ichiro's rookie cards, which by the way are super low population, that is a great place to start.
Now, Mr. Panthers 23 wants to hear about Rafael Devers, so let's do it. The Bo Sox third baseman. Currently, he's got 13 homers, 40 ribbies as of Wednesday. He's fifth in Major League Baseball in homers and third in RBI. He could make his first All-Star appearance this season. Let's take a look at his 2018 Topps base PSA 10. A player playing really, really well over the last month. So I'm looking at the last 30 days here. Card's down about 4% in value. So basically stagnant. His 2018 Topps Chrome base PSA 10, even over the last 30 days. And his 2018 Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10, up about 8% over the last 30 days. So not a ton of movement here on Devers cards, even though he's been playing lights out. Jeff, what do we do here? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
Hey, shout out to Big Poppy 34 on Twitter, who since before this season has started was tweeting nonstop about how Rafael Devers cards were undervalued, how he was going to have a great season, and how people should be buying Devers cards. His predictions, absolutely correct, because Devers has been the man this year for the Boston Red Sox. He's been playing great. The Red Sox as a team have been playing great. They really turned it around from last season. They're doing really, really well, and Devers is a central reason why. I still think there's room for his cards to continue to go up. This guy is a star who doesn't get enough attention, but he will continue to get more and more attention as the Red Sox continue to improve. I still think it's a decent time to buy Devers cards.
So there you guys have it. We ran through all of your suggestions again this week. With your suggestions, we've been giving you 5 cards. I used to only give you 4 here on the forecast, but you guys have been crushing it with your suggestions and providing so many. So keep them coming, please. If we choose one of yours, of course, I promise we will credit you. So let us know who you want to hear about, what sport you want to hear about. We want to get you guys the content that you want to hear. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. You click the bell icon, super easy, free. Do it. Support us. We really appreciate it. We support you. And I'll support you again next week. I'll be right back here on the forecast. As always, guys, thanks for watching. And of course, happy investing.